The ANC itself might have very little to celebrate this weekend when members pop champagne and cut the cake to mark its 110th milestone tomorrow. The party has been losing voter support with each election while also dealing with factional battles. The Zondo report will present a further challenge, many might say, as many of its members and senior leaders are named for possible prosecution. Let's make sense of all of this for you now. Bring in our guests, political analyst Elvis Masoga and Dr. Ntsikelelo Breakfast join us via our video link to discuss the crossroads, if you like, that are facing the governing party. Gentlemen, thank you both very much for your time. It's great to have you on the program. I guess the immediate question to ask as we look ahead to tomorrow is the ANC currently in decline or going through a process of renewal? Elvis, how do you see it?
Yeah, firstly, I end my humble greetings to you and Dr. Breakfast and the viewers of Newzroom Afrika. It is twofold. I think your question is critically important, but it demands a twofold, response. Yeah, remember, a process of organizational renewal, especially for an organization that has experimented with so much a political rot in the last 10 years or so. So such kind of organizational renewal, process, it has to be clinically thorough to a point whereby some people might wrongly so mistaken it for a decline. To me, I do not necessarily think it's a decline because I don't want to confine it to quantitative numbers, because when you speak about organizational renewal, at times you need to shed unnecessary numbers. Sometimes it's like, an overwhelmed bus. A bus that has got a passenger capacity of 60, but only to find that there are more than 500 people in that particular bus. That's where the ANC finds itself. It is so overwhelmed to a point whereby at times you need to be prepared to get rid of the quantitative numbers that do not add any quality, to the ANC. And in that kind of a situation, there might be some decline in numbers, but a decline in numbers does not necessarily imply the implosion or the paralysis of the organization. But it's a long-term process of organizational renewal, because you must spring clean the house clinically and thoroughly to a point whereby you are satisfied that there is no more any dirt or rubbish that remains within the house when you undertake a thorough, spring cleaning. And that's exactly what organizational renewal is all about. But I sympathize with people who mistaken it, for a decline because they concentrate on numbers. But when it comes to quality, you will realize that actually it's a reawakening for the ANC, because it is overwhelmed with more than 1 million card-carrying members. That is too much, because during the liberation struggle, the ANC had fewer members who were diligent, hardworking, loyal, and dedicated, but they were able to recruit thousands of millions of ordinary supporters. But right now, they've got too many members who do not add any value and quality to the ANC. So that is why at times there must be decline in numbers in order to organizationally renew the movement.
Dr. Breakfast, Elvis speaks of some kind of renewal possibly taking place within the governing party. Help us locate the significance of tomorrow's celebrations being back again in Polokwane, given what took place when the party was there the last time.
Yeah, so throughout history, the ANC has had ups and downs. So the issue of conflict within the ANC is not a peculiar phenomenon. But the difference between the past and now is that the conflict that has broken out of late between the two factions is not about the ideological direction of the party. It is about who stands a chance to benefit the material gains within the state machinery. Now, the romanticism or romanticizing about the past, the glorification of history, the preservation of tradition, and the dependency on collective memory without service delivery, that is a thing of the past. No wonder the ANC has been dealt with a blow of late at local government level. So this is a critical moment for the party to look back, take stock of what has happened because the ANC, whether you like it or not, it is no longer a hegemonic force. The ANC is shrinking. So I think they need to look back, then look ahead, because the possibility of the ANC losing power in the upcoming general elections is not far-fetched.
Yeah. You know, just on this idea of the ANC no longer being a hegemonic force, I guess some people might ascribe that to also it not being a homogenous organization. It's difficult not to consider the alternative, if you like, celebration that was organized by the so-called RET forces. We're told this morning that that has now been cancelled. I guess only time will tell. But Elvis, I mean, help us place that if it were to go ahead. How would we even view something like that taking place within the ANC, especially given the year they've had?
Yeah, you know, it's the danger in relation to the post-1994 political dispensation in the ANC is that we have seen a situation whereby ideological schools of thought that existed in the ANC post-1990 were suddenly replaced by, you know, toxic predatory, you know, factions, cartels and cliques that have got nothing to do with, you know, the political, strategic and ideological direction that the ANC must undertake. And that's where you find a situation whereby quality intellectual discussions in the ANC are generally and currently dead. They've been replaced by, you know, malicious talks about who must be replaced as a leader or who must be elected as a new leader. So you find a situation whereby the larger part of conversations in the ANC is all about who are we replacing as a leader, who are we replacing as a minister or a president, and who are we electing as new leaders. So this, you know, ideological and intellectual quality of debates, it is generally dead in the ANC. And that's exactly what happened for a liberation movement that now no longer give consideration to cadreship. Who are the members? Who joins? Who are the people they deploy? Right now, any person can become a member of the ANC. And to a large extent, the moment you throw quality out of the window in terms of determining membership, then you are inviting disaster in your organization. So I'm not surprised. Like you, as you are aware, Ayanda, you know, meetings of the ANC nowadays are characterized by violence, are characterized by chaos, anarchy, hooliganism. Members, they can just take out guns and shoot, you know, others. You remember in Limpopo some few months ago, you know, some members, you know, just, you know, took out guns and started shooting at other members at a meeting. Some died, some were critically injured. You know, political assassinations in KwaZulu-Natal, in Gauteng and other parts of Mpumalanga. So they've become a new abnormality in the ANC. But as a result of the current leadership, when I say current leadership, I'm referring to the post-1994 leadership of the ANC, deciding to throw cadreship quality out of the window. And that's exactly what you'll find in the ANC. So it's a matter of going back to the basics, because remember one thing, Ayanda, the ANC is not just a political party like the likes of EFF, UDM, DA. It's a liberation movement. It has existed for more than 100 years because they adhered and subscribed to these liberation ideals that make it so profound. So why can't they go back to the liberation ideals? That's when they will understand the real purpose of the existence of the ANC.
Yeah, speaking about learning from the past, Dr. Breakfast, I mean, again, I can't help but think back at those moments when the ANC was last in Polokwane. Elvis touched on it. People losing their lives, chairs quite literally flying across the room. Given where the party is now, the very clear cracks in the organization, are you expecting much of the same tomorrow, or is the context a bit too different?
I think the political longevity or the political lifespan of liberation movements, it tends to be affected by issues of institutionalization of corruption. I agree with Upud Elvis with regard to what he said earlier on, that the ANC has failed post-1994 to roll out a program on political education. My view is that, you know, it takes 5 years of political education to produce a solid comrade. But now people, they align themselves to certain factions in order to have access to resources without any interest in what the party stands for. So that has been the challenge of the ANC, because some of the members of the ANC, they don't go out of their way to engage in the basic documents of the ANC and try to understand the philosophical outlook of the party with regard to what the party stands for. But I don't think that the ANC is going to bounce back to what it was in the past. I think these political cleavages, they are too deep. I think the way out, in my opinion, is a split.
Sobering reflections, especially in the context of what we're seeing already take place. Let me thank you both for your time and your analysis. Appreciate your insights on the AM report. Elvis, Masoga, and Dr. Ntsikelelo Breakfast, both political analysts. Once again, thanks very much indeed.